OrangeTop. It's an automotive battery, and I'm going to be unboxing it live here on the YouTube channel. Now, one of the first things I always recommend doing in any unboxing, whether you're recording it for video or not, is to actually inspect the box and take a good look at it. These lithium batteries are pretty lightweight. This one only weighs 20 pounds, but it's still heavier than a lot of people are accustomed to. So you can see there might be a little bit of impact damage there. There's a couple of places where it looks like it got beat up and punched a little bit. There's another hole right there. So note that and make sure that you inspect the battery closely if you see signs of damage from the shipping, because sometimes batteries can get damaged in shipping, and if they do, you should contact us right away, because that battery, if it doesn't fail right away, is likely more prone to failure because of the damage that occurred during shipping. Now what I'm going to do here is flip this over so it'll slide out nice and easy. Put the box over here. UN 38.3, that's important. You can Google that number to learn more about it, but it's basically a shipping designation. That means these lithium batteries are safe to be shipped. So comes with an inner box that will open up here, and an owner's manual, and you can see the hardware here for securing terminals to the battery, and we've got some padding, some protection here. And you can see this box relative to the outside box, if we take a good look around it, is relatively unharmed. There might be a little bit of compression in the corners, just a little, but it looks like the battery survived pretty well the trip here. Lift this out now, and again, this is a 20-pound battery, so not very heavy. I'll set it right here. This is the equivalent of our DH6 battery in terms of size, okay? I've got it next to the DH7 here, so you can see the difference in size. Now, the difference in weight is significant. Our DH6 yellow top is a 54-pound battery. This battery, 34 pounds lighter at just 20 pounds, okay? For comparison's sake, I also have this D51 here. This D51 is a 28-pound battery. So this battery is 8 pounds lighter than this battery. Now, it has plenty of cranking amps, and lithium batteries are measured a little bit differently than lead acid batteries. They don't do the cold cranking amps at 0 degrees for 30 seconds, things like that. But basically, this battery is going to have enough cranking power to start just about any engine you can think of. Some things I want to point out to you, because we've been getting a lot of questions about this. This is a 45 amp hour battery, and that means that this battery, that's the size of the electrical fuel tank in this battery. By comparison, this is an 80 amp hour battery. This 78 right here is a 50 amp hour battery. So the fuel tank in this one's a little bit bigger than this one. And then this little guy, the 51 here, is only a 38 amp hour battery. Now this is the same size battery that comes in the Nissan GTR and a lot of Hondas. So that gives you enough reserve capacity of 45 amp hours. If you lose a charging system or have an alternator failure or a belt failure on a track, it'll generally give you enough power to safely get your vehicle off the track, so your car just doesn't die on the spot in the middle of a racing event. So that's important to know. You can deep cycle this battery, but it's not really a car audio battery. I've had a lot of questions about that. And what you see back here is our Q31M DC150. Now this is a marine and RV battery. It's a deep cycle only battery, not a starting battery. You can use this battery for engine starting. This one's not for engine starting, but this is a 150 amp hour battery. So more than triple the capacity of this one. So if you wanted a battery for a house battery or for car audio that you could really deep cycle, this one has a lot more reserve capacity than this one. And it's a little bit more expensive, relatively speaking. As of this recording, this one's $849, I think, and this one's $999. So a little bit of a price difference there, but significantly heavier as well because it's a bigger battery. Now you'll notice we have quad termination here. That's kind of a hallmark for the OPTIMA lithium batteries, is to have the flexibility and the option of two negative terminals on one side, two positive on the other. And you'll see a QR code here. I'll do a separate video later on that shows the Bluetooth functionality. But there's also a button here that you can press and it'll illuminate the battery, and you can see it flashing right there. It's like, okay, here I am. But this is Bluetooth connected, so when you get the Optima app for free on your phone, you can connect it to this battery just like you can connect it to this one, and it'll tell you the state of charge of the battery, how many cycles it had, the battery temperature, lots of stuff like that. But the CPR function on this battery is really something to pay attention to, because a lot of people wish they had this feature and don't. And what it does is, as the battery gets discharged, it gets to a certain point. I'm not sure if it's 20%, but it gets to a depth of discharge that the BMS, the battery management system inside the battery, says, we're going to shut it down now because we want to save enough energy for this battery to start one more time if we needed to. So if you're somewhere at a ice cream stand or at the beach or at a park and you're playing the radio and you're discharging the battery, this battery will automatically shut off and hold enough power in reserve for you to allow your engine to start one more time and get you home safely. And if that does happen, I always recommend fully charging the battery, fully recharging it with a battery charger as soon as you can. Otherwise, you put a tremendous strain on your charging system. And that doesn't mean anything for lithium specific. It's the same thing with a lead acid battery. If you jump start your battery needs to be fully recharged with a battery charger as soon as possible. So that's something to take into consideration. These batteries are IP67 rated, which means they're dust proof and waterproof. If this battery was submerged up to 3 feet, it can sit underwater for 30 minutes without issue. And you may think, my car's not going to be sitting. If my car's underwater for that long, I've got some bigger issues, and that might be true. But what we found in the marine space is a lot of guys are using batteries in their boats that are not IP67 rated. The boats aren't sinking, but the batteries are getting water inside the case because the batteries are not IP67 rated. Now, people ask about safety on these batteries as well. These batteries are UL and IEC listed for safety, and that's a third-party testing scenario where they put the battery in a bunch of really not good situations, overcharging it, crush tests, things like that. And we do that at the cellular level. And there's a lot of batteries that have some UL listings, but they only have it at the cellular level. They get it from the cell manufacturer. We also have it at the battery level. So we test the cells to failure in a variety of scenarios, and we test the cells in the battery, and the whole battery is a package to failure. So that's something important to consider. And then obviously you saw the UN rating on these. These are safe to ship. And I've heard from other battery brands that there's some people selling batteries, or some brands selling batteries that are not safe to ship, which is shocking that they can get away with that. But so safety is our top priority with Optima. You're going to get that with the QH6, and tremendous cycle life on this thing. And on the marine side, Wesley Strader, one of our sponsored tournament anglers, this is a guy that spends more than 100 days a year on the water. He's had the same set of orange tops in his boat since last year, and I don't think he's cycled them more than 34 times. So probably more cycle life available in this battery than you're ever going to be able to use. You can see the QR code on here to download the app and download the manual. And there's also venting provisions on this battery. If something were to happen, that allows it to vent. And I believe this is similar to the NEMA connectivity. Allows you to connect more than one battery together, and some systems have different ways to connect, and that's a pretty standard thing. You can see we've got one NEMA connectivity here on this orange top battery as well. So this is the Optima QH6 orange top, and to recap for you, this is a 20-pound battery. Pretty lightweight. This is a 60.5-pound battery, not so lightweight, but lots of amp hours. 80 amp hour battery, 45 amp hour battery by comparison, 38 amp hour battery. Far more cranking power in this battery, and this is a 50 amp hour, which is similar in size to our Group 34 batteries, and similarly rated to our Group 34 batteries, which is why I had it there. I just wanted you to understand the size comparison. The DH6 is a little bit bigger than our 3478s. And it's shorter but wider. than our Group 51 batteries. And then obviously the DH7 is one size up from the QH6, so that's a little bit bigger of a battery, but a lot of power in a relatively small package. You're going to have a hard time saving weight in a race car. 34 pounds is what you knock off from our DH6 yellow top down to this one. You're going to have a hard time saving that kind of weight for less money than this battery is. So you can learn more about this battery at OPTIMAbatteries.com, and you can check out our YouTube channel for other videos on this battery and the big one, the big orange top, and all the other ones here. So thank you so much for watching.